I thought I would talk a little bit about the Pioneers Gospel Fellowship and what it means and how it began. So in 1948, the church was built, and Art, Anra, and Isabella came to Pine Ridge, and they ended up staying here for maybe about 15 years or so. And they invited the Headlands to come out and help them. And so they ended up having 2 ministers on the reservation. And it's quite interesting because the Anras actually ministered to our parents when they were children. And they would have, our parents would go to Bible school and Sunday school class. And so it was pretty awesome. And so they started in 1948, built the church, and the tribe invited them in. And of course, never knowing what the history would be, they also brought a house, and now the house is the coffee house. The house was actually built in 1900, and it was brought here in 48. And then there's also the church building. So the Mennonites built that in 1948. Part of it, and then they added on and added a basement. But what's really cool is, 1981, 82, I think it was 81, they built the basketball court, and some guys came from Huron, South Dakota, and they built this slab, and they tied the iron and into the underneath, and then they poured the cement. And I was watching them, not really helping, but I was helping a little bit. Didn't know what I was doing, so they kind of let me just watch them. And but I was visiting them, and I remember they were twins, and they were big muscle guys and big construction guys. Looked like a couple farmers that turned construction workers. And they flew in on their own private plane, and they got it all together. And now we have a beautiful basketball court where players can come and enjoy themselves. And and I've only counted about 3 fights over my 15 years, and they weren't really much of fights, maybe 4 fights, but it's a very positive place. And I just wanted to take some pictures and share about hope, because yesterday I shared about hopelessness, but there is some hope. In 1948, a missionary came, believing that he was doing good, and he did. And there's a lot of fruit that's coming, and a lot of things that he did. But the plants kind of show the springtime, and you can take a hollow tree and make a planter. You can make a big deck where people can come and sing and fellowship and have a great time. And it's a really powerful story, because so many of the great basketball players from Pine Ridge have played at Headlands. And Headland was the second missionary, and he actually ended up staying for 42 years and touched a lot of lives. And so, there's a great legacy behind the Gospel Fellowship. When I first started coming here, it was called the Gospel Mission. And then they started telling the missionaries, you need to organize. And so they came up with the name, the Pioneers Gospel Fellowship. And the sign that you saw at the beginning of these is Oyate Ki Wacheki Omnichie. And Oyate Ki Wacheki Omnichie means the people gathered to pray. Because when you go to this church, it's a house of prayer. And so we took the Pioneers Gospel Fellowship, and we made it Lakota, because the Pioneers Gospel Fellowship is also where the gospel is being preached and shared among the people, and we pray. So it's a very powerful thing when you start thinking about it. And just wanted to share some positive things. And I know a lot of times we forget that there's so much heaviness, and there are good things. There's basketball, and there's gardens, and there's a story behind the little church called Headlands. And it's a very powerful story. A lot of people have come through the doors and have shared, and we hope to continue to bring hope and see lots of basketball players. And the most interesting thing about this is, understanding that the original parsonage where the pastor lived is now a coffee house, and serving some of the best lattes and cappuccinos and fruit smoothies that you could possibly get in the whole area. And it's located right here in Pine Ridge. And it's really interesting, when we started to dream about a place where we could drink coffee, we ended up, having to hear a lot of people say, oh, it'll never work. And but our people are wonderful. I think of my friend Randy, who's an excellent IT guy, and John, he's a customer. He's a great detective, investigator, has a great team working for him. And there's all these people that come in and they experience a little bit of heaven on earth, and they have their lattes and they have their smoothies and they have their baked goods, and of course they might happen to come by at lunchtime and pick up a lunch, and so we're really excited. We think that it's a great opportunity to share with the community. And so my daughter Tamara, she has a lot of names, Tam, she actually said, she wanted to, I kind of bummed her out yesterday, so I figured I should share a different story. And that's one of the things that I've tried to do over the years, where I just try to share, stories with people, because everybody has a story, and how you got where you are today. And we have a story as a great people, the Oglala Lakota Nation, and just the power we had, living here on the plains, eating the buffalo and eating, the fruits of the land. And we thrived here, and it was kind of like we were tricked, but we end up, still surviving. And now it's a time where we begin to thrive and to overcome the survival and the welfare mentalities, and we begin to grow as a people, because we do have some great people that can possibly, lead corporations and lead institutions and be the best at what they do. And we have great artists, and we have a lot of great business people across the reservation. And I just wanted to share a little bit about that tonight. So this is Leon Matthews and Res Ramblings, and hope you guys have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.